Good day and welcome everyone, wherever you are attending from. We thank you for your attendance in the Resource and Support Hub webinars and activities that aims to help support having a safer world. The Resource and Support Hub, or the RSH, is a program that aims to support organizations in the aid sector to strengthen their safeguarding policy and practice against sexual exploitation, abuse, and sexual harassment, SEAH. RSH is delivered in a consortium with Options, Social Development Direct, International Council of Voluntary Agencies, IGVA, Attendees TDH, Clear Global and Site Servers. It's funded by the UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO. RSH supports organizations working in both the humanitarian and development sectors, but is driven by the needs of smaller national or local organizations in developing countries. Our slogan as RSH is that together we can build a safer sector, as it's everyone's responsibility. Today, and in coordination with our colleagues from the Core Humanitarian Standards CHS Alliance and the Steering Committee of the SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme, we introduce you to our webinar, SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme. I am Omar Gawasme, the Jordan National Representative for RSH, and I'm also a member of the SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme Steering Committee. Today's webinar, we will go through an initiative that started in 2021, the CHS Alliance and the Steering Committee for Humanitarian Response, CHR, with funding from the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, FCDO, have joined forces to increase transparency and reduce underreporting on SEAH in the aid sector through the development of a harmonized framework for SEAH data collection and reporting. We will highlight for the importance of the scheme and will explain why and how you can be part of and benefit from such initiative. The SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme introduces a harmonized SEAH data collection and reporting framework to achieve what we have earlier mentioned, to increase transparency and reduce underreporting, which will definitely enhance planning and support efforts of building a safer sector. Seeing this bigger picture will allow the aid community to understand the intricacies of the issue and how the initiative would be very helpful to confront SEAH. This means we could create stronger evidence-informed policies and strategies to better mitigate risk, prevent abuse, and respond to failings. The webinar will explain to attendees how they can join and what they should expect as an outcome of the initiative that aims to support trend analysis and effective learning from aggregated data, which will inform policies and strategies aimed at improving victims' outcomes and prevention interventions. Therefore, being part of new initiative would be very helpful to everyone for sure. In order to do this, we have invited Colleen Rapinoe. Welcome, Colleen. Colleen, she is the PSEA for Protection from SEAH Manager at the CHS Alliance since October 2020. Colleen began her career in 2004 in the International Criminal Tribunals for the former Yugoslavia and for Rwanda as legal assistant in the chambers and then in the Defense Council. Before joining the International Committee of Red Cross, ICRC, in 2007, she spent 13 years with the ICRC, half of which in the field as protection delegate, Guinea, Conakry, Democratic Republic of Congo, Haiti, and Cambodia, before taking up the position of Sexual Violence Advisor in the Operations Department at the ICRC headquarters for almost 5 years. She holds a master's degree in International Relations with a major in International Law from the Graduate Institute of International and Development Studies in Geneva. Now let's hand over to our colleague, Colleen. Dear Colleen, please let us know more about this initiative. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Omar, and thank you, RSH, for inviting me today to this 1-hour webinar. So I will try to not be too long so that we have at least 35 minutes, 40 minutes to discuss, to exchange, and to answer your questions. So as Omar said it, so I'm the PSEH manager at CHS Alliance, and I'm also in charge of this project, the Harmonized Data Collection and Reporting Scheme that I will call today. So very briefly, because I see that you are more than 200 connecting at the moment. Maybe a few words about the CHS Alliance for those who don't know what it is. So we are an alliance, a global alliance of nearly 180 humanitarian and development organizations. And our main mission is to make aid work better for people. So we really want to deliver higher quality and more effective aid and to be accountable to the people we assist and we serve. So the core humanitarian standard, briefly, it's 9 commitments, 62 indicators implemented to strengthen accountability and to really put people we assist at the heart of what we do. Out of these 62 indicators, 22 are on PSEH. And I would say that this project also is falling under these indicators. Next slide, please, Omar. So what is the Harmonized Reporting Scheme? And here today will be really to explain what it is, for who it is, why it's important, what is the added value, and how you can sign up, and what is the advantage for you. So what it is, it's really, the purpose is really, and Omar said it, everything started in 2021 with the support of FCDO, and we are working on it for the past 2 years. But what it is at the end is to really build something simple, common, in a way to collect and to report the same set of sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment data in the ed sector. So it's to have like, and I would get back to that, 15 different SEH data that everyone from national to local to international organization, NGOs and private sector organizations. So it's to use the same set of data when you collect and when you report your data to donors. So it's to really put in place something which is simple, which is anonymous, and that's very important. So non-identifiable data, top-line data on SEH incidents. So the purpose is really to increase transparency and to reduce the underreporting, but I will get back to all the different objectives. What are the guiding principles? And maybe you can click, Omar, to make sure we see on the right part all the guiding principles. There are 4 main. You need to click on your button, Omar, so that it appears on the right part under guiding principles. But simplicity is the main thing. We want to have the top line only and make sure the harmonized framework is accessible and easy to use for everyone. Confidentiality, that's the second principle, guiding principle. So to make sure we prioritize protection of victim survivors, but also of subject of complaints, to make sure there is no identifying information and compliance with data protection requirements. And I see it does not appear on the right. I don't know who is in charge of the slides, but it would be great if you could click again so that it appears again, again, and again. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Inclusivity and participation, super important. We want to get the buy-in from everyone, a mutual understanding and a common buy-in from everyone. So to take also particular account of the needs of the local and national NGOs, to recognize power and resource imbalances in the sector, so to have something that fits everyone. And last but not least, relevance. We want to be clear about the purpose of the scheme. So that's very important to have in mind, and I will get back to that. Next slide, please. So why are we developing this harmonization SEH data collection and reporting? Next slide, please. So first of all, because we have a very limited knowledge on SEH incidents, about the typology, about the extent. Contrary to gender-based violence, we have no clue about what's going on in the world. There is no one system that provides trend analysis. So there is a lack of evidence. And because we don't have evidence, it's difficult for us to have risk mitigation, to have like structured prevention and response to SEH. And also we see in the sector at the moment that everyone is trying to develop with their own resources a system that at the end is related to a global problem. SEH is a global problem. So the purpose of developing this scheme is really to have a simple, easy, user-friendly, cost-efficient common mechanism. And the main purpose for you NGOs who are connected here, either international, national, or local, is really to reduce or to remove the burden that you have on the shoulder to collect and report different data to different donors. So it's to have like one thing fit all. Next slide, please. So the general objective, and you can click again, there are 5 general objectives. It's really, as I said, to increase transparency. That I would say is the biggest objective, the general one. We want to increase transparency in the sector. We want to improve accountability, to be more accountability to the people we support, we assist, but also being accountable ourselves for what we're doing. We want to reduce underreporting. So that's the general one. But for you, people working for NGOs, what is the objective also of this harmonization scheme is to really to facilitate you, to facilitate the life of the NGO, to reduce the burden, as I mentioned, to avoid having multiple different systems. So one system for everyone, and we are all aligned. This system enables what? Enables a better trend analysis. It's really to better understand the problems. And then you will see throughout my presentation what it means to better understand and how it can help us to better ask for funds, to better put in place our strategies, our policies, etc. So it's to really like, and you can read the 5 different objectives, is to really have like something solid in the sector. Next slide, please. What is the timeline? How did this project develop? So you know that in the past, I would say before everyone knows about the Oxfam scandal, although Oxfam, I guess, was not the only organization at all at the time which had difficulties and problems with SEAH. But at the time, we know that no one really captured the SEAH data. It was really like random. It was either never shared or sometimes shared reporting, but it was usually difficult. And the organization used to report when they were forced to. So we started this project in order really to overcome this problem. We know that over the past years, since 2018, there have been some improvement. But when we did consult more than 60 organizations to understand what they were doing, how they were collecting and reporting the data, we understood actually that organizations were capturing very different, very various and incomparable data of sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment. And they were not reporting or just a little bit the data to donors or publicly. So it was really like fluctuating from one organization to another. There was not a harmonization in that. We know that the UN has a system in place. It's the UN iReport or the UN tracker for those who know that, but no such system exists for NGOs and for private organizations in the ed sector. Reason why we wanted to work on that. Today, we are in July 2023. We are in the pilot phase. It's phase 2. So what is it? We have developed, based on the consultation of this plus 60 organization, local, national, and international NGOs, we develop a framework and we are piloting it. At the moment, we have 24 organizations who are using this framework, using the SEAH data fields in order to collect and to report the same set of comparable data and to report to the donors. So this information is aggregated, totally made anonymous, but with that we can analyze and make trends, I would say, to understand better the trends and pattern on SEAH. And that's the main purpose of the pilot. Pilot organization also help us improve the platform so that when we arrive in phase 3, that you can see on the screen, we can scale up with exactly the data field that everyone is convinced we should have in a platform, in a common platform, and to make sure actually that we have real-time aggregated data so that that are available for the public, for the donors, and for the peers. And as I say, totally anonymous. Nobody can know who has reported, which organization did report such and such cases. So the purpose is really less reporting burdens, strong trends and patterns to better understand, more accountability and transparency, and actually more ability to have evidence-based policies for prevention and response to SEAH cases. Next slide, please. So what is the added value for an organization to sign up? And that I think is the most important for you here. So you see there are 6 bubbles. I would say the first 2 are important. As I say, it's to have a common understanding of SEAH and what to collect, when to collect it, when to report it, how to report it. And that gives us also the possibility, as I said, to get trend analysis. And you will ask me, what is the purpose of that? So the purpose is really to use this evidence to improve our prevention and response policies and strategy. That's the first thing. To help advocate for funds to be allocated to certain gaps. When you have trend analysis, you can identify gaps and you can go to your donors saying, listen, we see that in this region of the world or in that and that, we have a problem. We want to have more funds for that in order to address this issue. So it's to really like get more allocations for certain gaps. Also to strengthen our accountability toward affected people, obviously. So it's really like to have all these different elements in hands in order to improve at our level and in the global sector. The third bubble is to have a strong data protection system. What does it mean? Many organizations, they do not have the technical capacity or the financial resources or human resources to create strong data protection system. So here you can benefit from a centralized and harmonized system that will guarantee that your data is safe and remains confidential. It's already done. You just need to join and you have the guarantee that it will be safe and protected. Another element is the community of practice. What does it mean? When you join this scheme, you have also the possibility to help identify common learning, common challenging. And we have a community of practice in order to brainstorm on ideas, to brainstorm on solutions, on guidance, on resources, on innovation. And the more we're going to be in this harmonization scheme, the more we can create space to exchange, to share, to learn together. And that's the purpose of harmonization. Another element is optimization of resources. What does it mean? It means that organizations who sign up will save money, will save time, and will save resources by joining an already existing system with a global buy-in. So instead of creating your own tools at your own level, your own methodologies, your own analyzing, you just join a system that has been created by one organization. Here it's the CHS Alliance, but it's created for all organizations, and we ensure quality for everyone. So that's also another guarantee that you will save time, money, and resources. Last but not least, it's a common and uniformly recognized and approved set of SEAH data. What does it mean? It means that once it's streamlined, it will simplify reporting processes for all organizations who are currently asked to report different things, different way by different donors. So on the medium long term, what we want, it's like donors to recognize this scheme, to endorse this scheme, and organization to know what they have to do with whatever the donors. And that's also very important to keep in mind. So what does this platform look like? Next slide, please. And I will be very brief because I will send you a link after if you want, for those who are interested, to watch a 3.5 minutes video where you can navigate this platform. You have the explanation from the main lead, the main project lead, who is Mathilde, but she's currently in maternity leave. So as I'm co-leading with her, I'm replacing her full time. but she has made an amazing video of 3.5 minutes where you can see the different SEAH data field. But here you see that there are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 main SEAH data field, from the localization of the incidents, passing through the status of the alleged perpetrator or the remedial action that you have taken. What you have to keep in mind here, that all these data fields have drop-down menu, multiple choice. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is that you have the possibility not to answer if you want to. You see on the right part that if you do not want to disclose this information because you think there is a risk of identification, or because your organization does not collect such information, or because you don't know, you have the possibility to say, do not want to disclose, or we do not collect, etc. So that's also a good space of maneuver, I would say. It avoids a lot of problems for organizations who would say, yes, but we are usually not collecting this information, and it's fine. Of course, we encourage you to report as many information as possible for each incident, but you have this possibility. When it's not predefined, you can also add, manually what is missing, which also help us build the platform to have something even more detailed. And during the pilot, and that will be until the end of September, when you join, you have the possibility to provide us with a feedback about the platform. Okay, we think we are missing that, or we think that is impossible to collect in general, etc., etc. And we have already improved the platform thanks to the great feedback from our piloting members. So that is more or less what it looks like. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, you can click, there are like 5 points. Perfect. There is no identifiable data. It's never shared in the scheme. As I said, you cannot know which organization has reported what. And when we do trend analysis, it's aggregated. There is no way, nobody can see, oh, it's this organization or this organization that reported. That's very important. There is no element or information about victim or survivor. There is no information about the subject of complaint. As I say, you are free, the organization, not to report on certain data fields. You have the rights to pull out from the scheme. It's not because you say, okay, Colleen, and I will explain how you can join. Okay, we want to join, and after a few months, you don't want anymore, you are allowed to go out, to pull out. And last but not least, it's not an accountability tool. Even if we want to increase accountability, it's not a tool in order to hunt you or to make sure that you report. And if you don't do it, CHS Alliance will be here to say, hey, you have not reported. No, it's a trend analysis tool, mostly, to increase accountability, but it's not an accountability purpose tool. Next slide, please. So here is just a screenshot of one of the many tables that I'm developing when I do a trend analysis report. And it shows a little bit the power of data. So here it's trends that are based on a completely anonymous, aggregated, and fictional data. And no organization is ever mentioned in trend reports, as I've already said it many times. But it shows the power of data. You see in this graph, for example, CBCM, complaints mechanism, community-based complaint mechanism. And when you look at the details, you see that no victim of survivors ever use CBCM to report. We only see that it's mostly community leaders by 23%. And however, the survivors only report in percent. They report either to a PSEH focal point or they report to a staff of my organization, which goes to another level. We understand that, for example, CBCM maybe is not adequate or is maybe not sufficient for victims and survivors to trust. So that gives one level of details about our trend analysis. Next slide, please. The same in this other example. You see, it's like sexual exploitation, abuse, and harassment against boys under 18, then in the middle against girls, and last against women. And you see the differences. You see that boys, for example, are more at risk of sexual abuse by 86%, whereas girls, it's almost like equal risk between sexual exploitation and sexual abuse, whereas for women, it's a majority of sexual exploitation. So that gives us like a level of details in order to take actions, to improve our prevention, to improve our response. So it was just to show you a little bit the level of details. And then apologies, I have a problem of throat, so I need to drink a little bit. Sorry for that. Next slide, and I'm almost done. I still have 2 slides, and it's already my concluding remarks. So what are the key elements that we have noticed since the beginning of the pilot last year? The first one is that leaders need to be on board. We have a level with safeguarding experts, safeguarding or PSCH coordinator officers, etc., and it's great. But we see that now we need to advocate and outreach at more a leader level. It's very important, including board members, including CEOs, etc. So we are planning to have an event with really leaders so that they are fully on board and understand the reason why it's super important to have them with us. It's a bit like the MDS, the misconduct disclosure scheme. We need organizations to understand that this scheme needs to be in their DNA, I would say, to go in the same direction. The role of donors as well is super important. And that I've been very clear with donors that if they don't play the game either, this project cannot work. It's like 2 sides. We need to have as many organizations on board as possible. That's the main purpose of harmonizing, but we need also to have donors. They are very enthusiastic, at least the main donors, the big donors, but now we want them to really adopt also this scheme to ask their grantees to use it. What we need also is to make sure we have a common stance to shift the narrative, to make sure that the more we report doesn't mean to have like transparency penalty. And that our donors also are very clear, the ones who are who know about the scheme, they want to shift this narrative and to reassure organizations that more reports doesn't mean transparency penalty. Instead, it means more transparency and more accountability. This scheme, when we have members joining, we provide more technical support. And we want to continue to provide this technical capacity or strengthening capacity to organization. So we want to make sure our support remains available to organizations when they join the scheme. Last but not least, when we scale up, so in October this year, hopefully, what we want is to really pass to a platform that will be totally multilingual, so that every language, or at least the main languages, are represented with a strong connectivity, a common definitions, common language, and that there is no barrier to participation, for example, for national NGOs, that languages, for example, or connectivity should not be an obstacle any longer. So that's what we have observed. How you can join the scheme? Next slide, please. So as I say, who can join? If you are an NGO, local, national, international, or private sector organization, you can join. What do we ask you? Just another click, please, for the slide. Perfect. What is the required commitment or requirement? You just need to commit to report with our framework, so to use our template. And how you can join? You can enroll anytime from now on, and you just need to send me an email, and I will put my email after in the next slide. You can send an email to me or to Mathilde, but at the moment, me is probably more appropriate as she's in maternity leave. Just confirming that your organization is willing to join and use the reporting framework. So that is only what we're asking. And next slide, please. Next slide is our resources. So there are different links, and I know this PowerPoint might be shared by the RSH team, but you have my email at the bottom of the slide, crapno@chsalliance.org. Anyway, we can add it in the chat, but it's really the only requirement to send me an email with the authorization of your CEOs, executive director, or yourself if you are the main boss of your NGO, saying we want to be part of it. And then we'll take care of it. We'll get back to you. And it's very easy to get in. So I'm done. So we have talked a little bit more than planned, but hope it was clear. And please, if you have any questions, it's the moment, and I'm here to answer as much as possible. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you very much, Colleen, for your presentation and explanation of the initiative. With no doubt, this was super useful. It was really insightful presentation, and I really would like to see everyone involved and be part of the scheme, which will support our planning and implementation efforts in confronting SEAH. Now, let us together go through the questions that were raised by the attendees on the Q&A. Most of the questions have been already answered during the presentation. But for those who did not ask and still need to learn anything about what Colleen presented, please drop your question to the Q&A section, and we'll make sure to have them answered for you. Let us start with the questions. I'll start randomly. What happens after reporting, Colleen? This was by one of the attendees. Does CHS provide support of managing the reported incidents?
Alors, that's a good question. So when we ask the organization to report, so it will be every 6 months after the pilot. During the pilot is a bit more heavy for the organization. It's every 3 months, but it's pretty fast to fill out the platform. When you do report, what I do, it's only Mathilde and I who can see the platform. We immediately aggregate the data, and we don't have any possibility to know who sent what, and we create a trend analysis report. For the pilot, we only share it with piloting members and with steering committee members for their knowledge, for their understanding. And if organization needs support, they come to us and we provide support. However, we are not going to support, for example, in terms of investigation or in terms of like what you do with your cases. That is at the organizational level. However, we did provide a workshop on what you do with the reporting, what are the main elements to take into consideration, etc. But that's more at the organizational level then.
Thank you very much, Colleen. Would you please elaborate more about our communication with the donors, as I can see some questions are related to the donors?
So with donors, we have members in our steering committee. We have 2 big donors who are there, who are supporting the scheme. So it's FCDO UK and BHA, the USAID. They are there, they are very supportive. So they know how important it is also that they play the game, as I say, and that they support this scheme, and they are ready to do so. So it's a bit the snowball effect. The more we have organization, the more donors will be on board, or the more donors will be on board, the more organization will be on board. So it's a bit the chicken and the egg. But donors know, they are all supportive, they understand the harmonization scheme, they see where we want to go, and they are very encouraging. So, and the purpose is really, as I say, that donors ask the grantees to use the harmonization scheme on a medium term to remove also the burden on the shoulder of NGOs and to avoid having multiple requests from multiple donors. So they are fully aware. We have been in touch also with many of them outside of FCDO and BHA to really make sure they are on board. So the more we are also within the scheme organization, the more power we will have also to say, hey, now your turn to endorse and to play the game.
Sure. Thank you, Colleen. Another question, why do we need to add the reporter profile? Is it still anonymous? Plus, is there a page for the preparators?
And I'm not
Why
sure
do we
I've
need to
understood
add?
that. Not sure I've understood the question, Omar.
Why do we need to add the reporter profile? Is it still anonymous? Plus, is there a page for the preparator?
Alors, no, for
Perpetrator,
each
sorry.
organizations, imagine you sign up to the scheme. You will need to send me 2 names of people who will collect and report, mostly report the data into the platform. And then we will send them the credentials only for them. So only these 2 people will have access to the platform, and you in the platform, you will see only your cases. You will not see the cases of others, only your cases. And once you report, I'm the only one with Mathilde to see where it comes from. But immediately the system makes it aggregated and there is no possibility for me or Mathilde to see who has sent what. So we send it eventually for a few minutes and then immediately it's aggregated and then it's anonymous. So nobody can see who is reporting what. And that's also based on our data protection protocol and to show that the data is safe and totally anonymous.
Yeah, another question related to
but,
this. Yeah, if it's not clear, please let us know in the Q&A. Another question related to this, how to avoid double counting or double reporting?
So that's a very good question. So as I say, you have the 2 people who have been appointed for your organization to report will have access to the platform. So each time you upload something in your platform, you only have access to your own cases. So you can see the cases you have already uploaded. And what we are asking for every organization is to report only the cases of your own organization. If you have many implementing partners, what we would like is you to ask your implementing partner to sign up the scheme so that they report themselves their own cases. And I know for the moment it might create problem for some organizations saying, yeah, it's difficult, but at the end it's to avoid duplication. And this question is great because if we ask only organization to report their own cases for their own organization, we avoid problems and duplication of cases.
Thank you, Colleen. We have plenty of questions.
That's good.
A new one, what? Yeah, definitely. What would be the technical capacity or support looks like for those who will join the scheme? So
far, we had like workshop, and we wanted even to propose mentoring for organizations willing to be supported. Unfortunately, there was a lack of request from our piloting members for mentoring. So when I say mentoring, it's like individual support or few organizations being supported by our, it's mostly GCPS Consulting, who has been working on this project since the beginning, who would provide this support. But we create tailored workshop on specific themes. We had already 4 or 5 of them about how to collect, how to report, what is exactly you need to put in place at your organizational level when you do report to make sure you do not forget anything. Then what do you do with the learning, for example, on the trend analysis report? What is the follow-up you can do? What are the actions you can put in place, to better prevent? And as I say, we can also provide mentoring. Which is upon request, and it's tailored according to the needs of the organization.
Thank you, Colleen. I'm going through the questions as they have been already answered. For example, if an organization with less resource or a less resourced organization, are they still can be able be part of the scheme? And if CHS, for example, if an organization want to join, but they want to learn more about the scheme, is it possible if they can communicate or connect with already another organization in the scheme so they can benefit from their story or their experience?
Alors, that's a very good question. The first one, yes, absolutely, yes. Whatever your resources, whatever your capacity, etc., we encourage organizations to join the scheme. We have like our current members have very diverse capacities, very diverse resources. We have very big organization, very small local organization. So the capacity varies. and they are all welcome. And according to the needs, we are there to support. So yes, 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 join whatever your capacity, internal capacity. Regarding the second question, which is, can we share experiences among members, etc.? It's a big yes as well. As I mentioned, once you are in the scheme, we have the possibility to exchange, and the purpose is really to build a community of practice, to share, to exchange, to learn together. So yes, we encourage also organization to, discuss together, to exchange, etc.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Colleen. Another question is, if my organization uses different definitions of sexual misconduct than other organizations, which may lead to misunderstandings, how does the SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme address this issue?
So normally, when we develop the harmonization scheme, we also make sure that there was a clear common definitions to follow. So what we are following for sexual exploitation and sexual abuse, and also sexual harassment, is the definition that we find in the CHS Alliance guidance. So we have the handbook, we have the PSEH index, but that also fits to the Secretary General Bulletin that everybody knows from 2003. So we are following these definitions. The only thing that we need to, I would say, tweak in the future is about harassment. We know that for some organization, harassment only occurs between staff. For CHS Alliance, it's different. It occurs either from staff against staff, but also from staff against members of the community. And that has been made clear in the definition. However, we need to add in our platform one column when there is a case of harassment, one column or an option where we say harassment against staff or harassment against a member of community, so that in our trend analysis, if we have a huge percentage of harassment, we understand if it's internal to the organization or if it's against population, which also will give us another level of details and understanding about sexual harassment.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Another question is related to the UNI report. What's the difference between our scheme, the SEAH-Harmonized Reporting Scheme, and the UNI report? And is there any plan in the future?
So great question again. When we developed the harmonization platform, we have been closely in touch with the UN team in charge of the UNI report or UN tracker, so that we align as much as possible. However, it's not over. We still need to go in the same direction. They are aware of that. We are aware of that we will need on both sides to make efforts and to make compromise. There are three main differences, I would say, between the two schemes. The first one is that we have harassment in our platform. The UNI report does not include harassment because for the UN, as I say, harassment is internal to the organization. So it's human resources in charge. They don't include it in the I report, but they are aware of it and eventually they want to include it. So that's the first difference. The second one, I would say that the UNI report is a bit more jargony than our platform. Why? Because first it's reported by the investigation teams of the UN and of the implementing partners. Whereas us, the two people appointed by NGOs are usually PSEH, focal point officers, or even people who just have a certain percentage of their working time on PSEH. So it's very different. Ours is more simple to understand. It has been also developed with the consultation of 60+ organizations. So it's slightly different on that level. And last but not least, as I said during the presentation, our harmonization tool is mostly also for trend analysis, to better understand and not to put people accountable. We are not going to put organization accountable, whereas the UNI report is mostly an accountability tool to make organization accountable for the cases.
Thank you very much, Colleen. I know it's heavy questions we have, but we always support the challenging questions. In your presentation, the data that were shown on your slides, was it from this year, as someone asked?
Alors, the two tables that you saw was totally fictional. We have similar tables with real data, anonymous, But for this PowerPoint, I wanted to use something fictional that does not exist. However, I can tell you based on the trend analysis that we have already produced, it's pretty similar to reality. But the one I show you were totally fictional.
Thank you. Will this prevent us from reporting to individual donors? If we have joined the scheme, will this prevent us from reporting to the donors?
Alors, no. No, you will have to continue reporting to donors. However, you can ask, we are obviously working with donors to make sure that when they ask for reporting, they use our framework. So meaning the 15 SEAH data field that you saw should be the minimum that donors are asking to report. So you will continue to report to donors, but using the scheme. That would be the ideal. To making sure you say, hey, we are reporting that in the harmonization scheme, and we are providing you this type of information. However, to be very clear, we know that donors are usually asking additional information when they are high sensitive cases, and it varies from one donor to another. And that we need to keep in mind, they will continue doing it. We will never be able to say, stop asking organization additional information when they are sensitive cases. However, this top line data should be, the minimum we collect and report to every donors.
Thank you. Another question, have we taken into consideration a country-specific law and regulations in terms of data security and confidentiality?
Alors, that's a good question, and I'm not sure I can answer that, but I think my answer would be no. We have not taken local law, obviously, because it's a harmonized platform that is general, but as there is no identifiable information, we don't ask about the identity of the victim or subject of complaint, etc. It's just, at the end, it's already information you are collecting and reporting. When donors ask you information about incidents, usually it's that, except that ours are really anonymous. So we remove every information about the name of the people, etc. It's like, it's the basic, but at the end, you're already, at least for most of the organization, doing it. And this information that we have, that we're asking, as I said at the beginning, have been based on a recommendation from 60 plus organizations. They said, if we collect and report, it should be that. So it's really a consultative process. It's not us, CHS Alliance, who are saying, okay, you should report that and that and that. No, it has been based on the extensive consultation and discussion with organizations who were consulted.
Thank you very much, Colleen. Should we report cases that were reported to us from another organizations?
Alors, it's what I mentioned before. Ideally, no. Why? Because it can create duplication if this organization, for example, is already part of the harmonization scheme. The easiest would be, you are part of our scheme, you report your own case. Your implementing partner or your grantees, whatever, if you finance the organization or not, join also our scheme and report their own cases. That would be the idea. If really you want to join and you will have to report cases from your implementing partner, get back to me and we can discuss how we do. Because there might be exceptions. But
yeah, thanks. While reporting, do we have to include how have we responded to different?
Not sure I followed your question, Omar. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, let me say again. While reporting, do we have to include how have we responded to different incidents?
Not sure I get it, but each incident, you will have to create a line in the platform. Even if, for example, it's a case of sexual exploitation and sexual abuse together, on one line, you have multiple options and you click sexual exploitation, sexual abuse. It's one case. Then you have another case on sexual harassment. You report another case on sexual harassment. I'm not sure I've understood the question, so I'm not sure I'm answering properly.
It was related to their responding to the incident? Do they have to include this in the reporting?
Alors,
How they responded to the incident?
Yeah, because under action taken, you will have to explain what you did. For example, let me get back, hold on, to the different things we have. For example, you have overall status of the investigation, if it's substantiated, unsubstantiated, unconclusive, etc. And then you have the responsive action you have taken. What did you do if, for example, it's substantiated? Have you dismissed the person? Have you provided a warning? Is the person, has the person left the organization during the investigation or after the investigation? So you have multiple choice. And according to what happened, you choose. Maybe you don't know, and there is an option, don't know. But usually there is so many layers that you should find your answer.
Thank you very much, Colleen. And the last question, is there any link intended to the MDS?
Alors, I would say yes and no. Yes, in the sense that obviously we are working very closely with the MDS team. They are part also of CHS Alliance team, at least the MDS coordinator. So we are like sharing the same offices, we're working together. And it's a very similar processes. Them obviously is more related to human resources, what you do when you want to hire someone. So it's specific. However, the process is the same, is to harmonize the system, to make sure there is a snowball effect, that as many organizations can join the MDS and can join our harmonization scheme, to have donors on board, as many donors recognizing the MDS, as many donors recognizing our harmonization scheme, to have leaders on board, to make sure it's part of the organization DNA, as I said. So it's very similar, although the two projects are different. One is about reporting cases, the other one is about preventing perpetrators to be sent to another organization.
Thank you very much, Colleen. That's all we have for today. We hope you have enjoyed this webinar, and we thank again, Colleen, for your informative presentation, and to all of you for your engaging and challenging questions. And if there are questions that were not answered, we will make sure to have them answered and shared with you after the webinar. We will be sharing this webinar recording and slides to you shortly, as well as other related resources. If you want to hear about future RSH webinars, subscribe to our newsletter. The link is in the chat. Thank you, and hope to connect with you again soon. Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone for attending. And please feel free to use my email that I've put in the chat should you need anything or to get in touch with me.
Thank you very much, colleagues.
And thank you, RSH, for the invite. It was great. Thanks.
Our pleasure. Thank you.